We began this study by asking the question, what is the claim of Christianity? We then quoted from this text within the New Testament. Now, brothers and sisters, I want to remind you of the gospel I preached to you, which you received and on which you have taken your stand. By this gospel you are saved, if you hold firmly to the word I preached to you. Otherwise you have believed in vain. For what I received I passed on to you as of first importance, that Christ died for our sins in accordance with the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day in accordance with the Scriptures. From this creedal statement we were then able to create a criteria. We then said in order for Christianity to be true, it had to substantiate the claim that Christ died, that he was raised, and finally that all of this was in accordance with the Scriptures. We then went through a very extensive study of each topic. The depth of study we went through for each area is evidenced by the thorough criteria we produced for each topic. The three main areas which we investigated were the historical Jesus, the resurrection, and was this in accordance with the Scriptures. Concerning the historical Jesus, we can say that even the most critical historian can confidently assert that a Jew named Jesus worked as a teacher and wonder worker in Palestine during the reign of Tiberius and was executed by crucifixion under the prefect Pontius Pilate. In addition, on historical grounds, it is virtually indisputable that Jesus was a healer. And finally, one of the most certain facts of history is that Jesus was crucified. We then investigated the resurrection. Concerning the historical evidence for the resurrection, we can say with complete certainty that some of his disciples at some later time insisted that he soon appeared to them, convincing them that he had been raised from the dead. Concerning the scientific evidence, we can say that Christ was wrapped in a shroud after his death, and we now possess a shroud which seems to have wrapped his body and now possesses an image that we cannot explain with modern science. Therefore, concerning the resurrection, we have both scientific and historical evidence. Historically, we can say that all historians agree that after the death of Christ, multiple groups of individuals saw him. And concerning the scientific evidence, we can say the shroud appears to have wrapped the body of Jesus and now possesses an image which cannot be reproduced by modern science. We therefore have both scientific and historical evidence for the resurrection. The last area which we investigated was all of this in accordance with the Scriptures? For this topic, we went through both the law of Moses and the Psalms and the prophets. Let us now, for the final time, return to our criteria and ask the question of whether Christianity can substantiate its claims. Concerning the death of Christ, we can say that it is as sure as anything historical can ever be. Concerning his resurrection, we can say that we have both scientific and historical evidence for the fact. And then, when asking the question of whether or not all of this was in accordance with the Scriptures, we can say that all the allusions to Christ within the Old Testament cannot be considered a coincidence. We have therefore completed an extensive study on the validity of Christianity, and based on the fact that Christianity can substantiate its claims, we have determined that Christianity is true.